I was just browsing on the web, and I saw this headline. Um, and to be honest, this might be a misquote, but apparently Jeff Bezos said people have very high standards for their work-life balance, and that if you enjoy half of your work, that's a home run. So, so I kind of read into it, and he basically says that, um, you know, essentially, a lot of things have overhead. So it's kind of like if you really want to be something be great, it's kind of like 50% of your work is going to be stuff that you don't really like doing, like meetings or presentations or email and that kind of stuff. But it's kind of like you just have to just deal with it, right? And so the reason this struck a chord with me was because I think it's a huge crock of shit. It's like if you're supposed to be, in control in designing your whole life, why are you designing it so that, um, you know, 50% of it sucks? And so it's kind of like I want to maybe just air my thoughts on the little newsletter piece. But the other thing is that I would say it really makes me recall this thing my dad said to me when I was a kid. I think it was like I was in middle school maybe or something like that, and he was telling me about his job, and he said, son, if you find a job where you enjoy 20% of it, if you really enjoy 20% of it, that's incredible. And so what my dad said really struck with me. It really stuck with me because it made me realize that it meant that he hated, like, or at least disliked 80% of what he was doing on a day-to-day basis, and then he actually really enjoyed 20%. And so as context, um, my dad is a physics PhD, um, but because it was hard to find a job in physics, he kind of did what many physicists do, and he took a job on Wall Street. Um, I mean, and actually that worked out really well, for us and our family, because we went from kind of like poor graduate students, when I was in middle school, my parents, to being like basically upper middle class by the time I was in college. So I think I would say the decision worked out well from a career and like financial standpoint, but I feel like, I mean, to be honest, like I think his kind of sacrifice, so to speak, kind of meant that he really didn't like what he was doing, all the time. But anyway, I think that overall, for me, actually, this is actually one of the main reasons why I came to Silicon Valley. I wanted to start a company, and not because I really want to change the world, but because I feel like I wanted to find a job that I really loved doing and try to design my life around being able to provide for my family while doing that job. And if I could change the world, then that'd be great too. But it was not like the first priority. Um, but I say this because I do think that as part of my founder journey, I feel like I've kind of gotten to the point where now I'm actually pretty close to achieving that. And the type of organization I'm running right now is basically what people here call a lifestyle business, which I think has like been like a pejorative for a long time. So I wanted to kind of just explain what that is and talk about why I think there's actually a really good opportunity to create like a good lifestyle business and it's really like a from a founder perspective, like I think a really good opportunity, especially in crypto. So because it's been 14 years since I've been in Silicon Valley, and from the beginning, there's been kind of this pejorative associated with the word lifestyle business. It was kind of like something that only unserious founders would tackle. Plus, I think a lot of even from the founder community, it was seen as a bad idea because it was kind of like you know you were kind of like you were kind of wasting your talents on businesses that weren't scalable. So what do I mean by lifestyle business? What I mean is a company that's just trying to make money by typically providing services, instead of products. So I think in the Peter Thiel 0 to 1 example, in Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 book, he kind of talks about like building Google, versus building like a British restaurant in Palo Alto. So So I think there's kind of implication number one. Lifestyle businesses are like kind of very red ocean uh, ideas where even if it does work for a little bit, it's not going to work in the long term because you're operating in a very competitive space. So you might as well put your efforts towards something that's in a sexy area like AI or basically starting a company that's either venture backable or working for a venture backed startup. Um, so I think that the modern lifestyle businesses, uh, at least here, I think are basically things where you're building something or providing a service typically. I provide typically building something, providing service that helps other people make money. So, for example, building websites, building apps, selling educational courses that teach people, some type of skill that they can use. Um, and of course, you have like the kind of the affiliate email, like kind of like the eBay kind of businesses. Um, I have a friend who he does like movie ticket. He sells movie tickets on eBay as a business. He actually generates a good amount of money doing that. But there's kind of like a long spectrum or a big spectrum of businesses that kind of go from individuals or selling their time on Upwork to like venture backed OpenAI type startups, and there's like a very large spectrum in between, depending on I guess scalability. But overall, I think that what I think actually what I think actually okay, let me put it this way. I think there's actually three hallmarks of like successful lifestyle businesses. And let me actually try to define what they are because I feel like we're actually hopefully, fingers crossed, building a successful lifestyle business. And I genuinely think that it's a path that founders should actually consider. However, it's actually not a super easy path, but it's just like I feel like my priorities right now are very different from what they were when I was trying to run like a venture backed startup. So let me actually try to define what a successful lifestyle business should do. Okay, three tenets. Number one, I think you should try to offer yeah, things that help people make money. And ideally, you're leveraging your own domain expertise to do that. So the question is, what can you do? The first thing I would say is typically um, it's typically a service, not a product. Because a service is you build something that they want. A product typically you have to make something, and sell that thing to many people. So it's kind of like I think it's actually a lot easier to sell services than products. So whether it's teaching people a skill, building them an application or a site or some type of object that helps them downstream in their career, or they can use basically something they can use and they'll pay you for that, or just a service like uh, sitting, uh, cat sitting. I don't know. So, it's a trivial example, but I think there's kind of like I think there's something here where people are naturally attuned, and me too, to building products. I love products. I spent a long time in product, but the I think that the thing that they always teach you in product is make something people want. Well, I'm here to tell you, um, just provide the something that people will pay you for. That's it's an even more direct way. And I think along the way, you actually kind of end up discovering a lot about user needs that actually help you refine what you're doing, and you can actually productize your service offering. So yeah, but overall, the first tenet I think of a successful lifestyle business is sell people what they are willing to pay you for, essentially. Um, the second thing about I think running a successful lifestyle business is I think you should focus on operating margin. So what I mean by operating margin is the difference between your revenues and your expenses, um, and essentially how much cash are you generating or burning every cycle. So the reason I think this is important is this is I would say this is comes from my finance background, but I remember the first week of analyst training. First week, it was like accounting class was like thing that all like 200 incoming first year analysts in Solomon Smith Barney in 2001 had to do. So come in, this guy comes in. This is like Italian New York guy. Uh, basically he gets paid to do accounting classes for investment banks in New York. There's a good lifestyle business. That's a great lifestyle business. But this guy comes in and he's like, "Hey guys, hey everyone. So my name's Cash. I think his last name. I think it was like Cash Cashel or something like that. But literally, and I think he's actually serious. I think he actually legally changed his name to Cash because he's like an accounting guru or something like that. But the one thing he always instilled in us was, in finance, it's all about cash. How much cash flow are you generating every month, every quarter, every year? So that's why, to me, I think about it as operating margin. Your revenues minus your expenses. So how do you increase your operating margin? Well, there's two ways. You either increase your revenues or you lower your expenses. Um, and I would actually argue you want to do both simultaneously. You want to keep your expenses super low. Work from home, uh, hire contractors from all over the world. Um, uh, you know, track every single expense. Every Amazon, AWS bill, every single uh, you know monthly Notion subscription, every little bit of cash, uh, and I think and try to essentially take your profits and make sure that you actually like keep them safe. So kind of as a segue, I think the third tenet of a successful lifestyle business is and I think that this is actually, I think, probably the most important one. I think you actually need to invest your profits into building a sustainable competitive advantage because you know uh, it is a competitive environment out there. It's a dark forest or red ocean. Choose your analogy, but uh, I think it's possible to actually, if you're smart about it, because if you're selling something that people want, and you have a healthy operating margin, you should be generating a bunch of cash every quarter. So, and I think the question for every successful business, whether it's venture backed or lifestyle or whatever, is what are you doing with those profits? Are you putting, basically taking you and your family on beach vacations? You should absolutely do that. But but can you reinvest it back into the business? And if you did, um, how do you do so intelligently? And so I think that's the tricky part. And so that's why I actually think that if you do that correctly, then you are building something sustainable. You're building a brand. You might be building a culture. Um, you might just be building a more successful offering than what you had before. You're offering, adding more features to it, keeping the price the same. You're making it better in some way. Um, and so that's why I think that building a successful lifestyle business should be a viable path for the best founders out there. And I say this, you know, not to be humble, but I think that I could have built, some great startup, uh, but I'm choosing to build a lifestyle business. Why? Because I think I can have it all, quote unquote. I can, uh, you know, enjoy 80% plus of my job. Number one, I can provide effectively for my family. Number two, and I can sustain this for a long enough time that I'm going to change the world eventually. So I'm not optimizing to like go out and in a blaze of glory, and do something that I have like a 10% shot of success at and 90% shot of failure. Um, and try to like, you know, hit home runs every cycle, fueled by lots of like VC, dry powder. That just sounds like an intense, but also incredibly unhappy life as a founder. Um, in part because I'm just someone that doesn't enjoy scale. I don't enjoy dealing with lots of people. They make people make me anxious. So what I like to do is a job where I can spend lots of it with a few amount of people, building something really cool together. And if we can build that something together for us, you know, and take the profits and you build make that even better, then why not do that? You know, so yeah, yeah, that's why I'm kind of fired about this, and I think I'll try to talk more about why, um, yeah, how to actually do it well, because I don't think it's easy. You know, you have to find the right people to match what you're doing, and also I think there's a tremendous mindset shift to just spending your time working, working on things that are going to help you make money, like building, coding, uh, selling, versus activities that what I think a VC backed founder would do, like spending lots of time on kind of fundraising, you know, um, building PowerPoint presentations and doing partnerships and hiring and other things like that. That frankly, not that they're not valuable, but I think that they're not the most important priorities when it's just you running a business. So I'll try to end it here, but anyway, I think yeah, I feel like I'm gonna try to make more videos about this because it's an important. Yeah, I think it's a less trodden, but I think an interesting path for many good founders out there.